What's up, YouTube? This is my first video to record or post or whatever you want to call it. And basically it's about leatherworking and my experience just over the past couple of days. It seemed like something I wanted to get into, so I figured I'd try it. I needed a holster to make for another pistol I had, and it was about 60 bucks to buy another one that was like the one I bought, which I really liked, which is this one right here, if I can hold on to it. It's a concealment mini by Shepherd Leather, and basically I just use that as kind of what to go off of and how to make one. So hopefully I don't get mad. I'm not trying to sell it or anything like that. I just made it to have it. And I'm gonna show you guys real quick, just maybe to keep your interest. This is, like I said, this is the first thing I ever made out of leather, and I think it turned out pretty good. It's a little darker than I probably want, you know, but this camera sucks. But I think for the first holster I've ever made, or any leather thing I've ever made, it looks pretty good. So basically I'm going to tell you guys and show you guys what all I had and what all I now have. You know, a lot of people on the videos say it's really expensive to get started and this and that, and I understand where they're coming from, because now I have purchased the proper equipment and stuff, and it is a little expensive, but there are cheaper ways to do things, and if you just use your imagination, you can come up with a lot of shortcuts and different ways to do stuff. So basically I'm just going to go through the stuff I used real quick, and then we'll get into how I did it and what I did and stuff like that. So basically these right here are just leather scraps from tandyleather.com. I think it's veg leather or whatever you want to call it. It's 9 ounce. It's a little thick from what I hear, but I needed something stiff, you know, up here, so when I put this thing in my shorts, it doesn't give a whole lot, you know. So I was kind of going for more like the Kydex stiffness and stuff like that, and it turned out fine. I don't have any problems with it, you know, but next time I do it, I'll probably use 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 or something like that. But as far as its rigidity or whatever you want to call it, it's fine. So I bought that. 10 pounds of 9 ounce scraps or whatever is like 13 bucks. Then what everybody else says is you need some sharp knives. You need a sharp knife, and you really do, especially with stuff this thick. Even with these, I got these little hobby knives off Amazon. It's a set, and I think they're $13. So those helped a lot. But what I noticed is, what I did is I just traced this and then cut it out. But what I would notice is you wouldn't always be able to cut straight, and it would cut at an angle and leave it looking weird and stuff like that. So what I ended up doing is I went to Home Depot just to look for maybe a sharper knife or something, and I did buy this thing. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but it doesn't work. It's worth a shit. But I did buy these. These are called Fiskars. They're not scissors. They're like heavy duty shears or something. They can cut like 18 gauge electrical wire or something like that, and they worked really good. We cut through it with one squeeze. You know, you didn't have to sit there and fuck around with it. And those worked a lot better as far as not leaving the little fuzzy stuff on the outside and cutting right through it. Another thing you would absolutely need is one of these, or a punch set with a hammer. I have one of those now. I haven't used it. I just always use this. And I bought a pair of these from Hobby Lobby or something, and they were shit. So just get them off Tandy Leather or an actual leatherworking site. You know, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, obviously, but I'm just telling you, to save you some time and money, buy the real thing, and don't. There's some stuff you just can't buy the cheap version of, because it doesn't work. So I had this, the knife, the leather, obviously, and then these are called California screws or something like that. Basically what it is it looks like a rivet from the front, like this, but at the back it's got like a little, you can't see it because this computer's garbage, but it's got like a flathead thing, and you just basically screw them together, and it looks like a rivet, and if anything ever messes up or you need to restain it, you can just take it apart. I don't know how you get rivets apart, and I don't know why some people prefer those. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know it though. And basically, the thing I was worried about is everybody says, you know, it's kind of tough and takes a lot of time and stuff. Um, but I didn't really have that problem. I don't know if I have natural skills or something. I wouldn't think so, but it's a lot of like cleanup work to make it look good at the end. As far as, you know, I got an edge beveler after that. If you don't know what that is, let me try and find it. It's around here somewhere. Basically, all it is it just rounds off the edges and makes them look better, and they don't get hung on stuff. But anyway, as far as making the holster though, it's really not hard. You know, you wet the leather. This piece always goes first. You know, you wet the leather, and you get a bigger piece than what you need, obviously. And you wet it, and you just put it on the gun. You know, if you're worried about your gun getting rusted, put some saran wrap on it, and it'll form. And just start working it. You know, work the trigger, try and define it. You know, because that's where you're gonna get the retention at, is in the trigger and up here and stuff. And you want it to be tight. But a thing I did notice as I was going is if you have, like, I have these aftermarket, I don't know if you can see them, XS big dot sights or whatever. You gotta make room for that up here, and you know, this camera's horrible, but I don't know if you can see how it's kind of up at an angle. It was just flat like that with the back of the gun, and it wouldn't come out. So you have to just watch that. Basically, all you do is you wet it, you get it real wet, just soaking wet, whatever, you know, wring it out a little bit is what I did. But you want it to be able to, you want to be able to work with it really good, and don't get frustrated because you're going to be rubbing it and then it'll slowly start coming up. Just work with it and then go do something for 20 minutes. Come back, it'll be a little drier, and you can start forming it better. And the thing with this is just patience. It takes a lot of patience, especially with this thick leather, because it takes a long time to dry. And I didn't take it outside and put it in the sun or anything. I just left it in my room and just would come back every 30 minutes or so and work with it for about 10. And I have all these clips and stuff now and fancy stuff, you know, that I found around the house. But I didn't have any of that. And you probably don't need any of it unless you're just going to start doing this and you just want to crank out a bunch of holsters, and you want to have one held over here, holding shape while this one you're working with and stuff. But I didn't have any of that stuff when I did this holster, and I mean, I'm very impressed with myself, honestly, because for a beginner, or for my first holster, actually, first thing ever doing with leather, I think it looks pretty dang good. There is some stuff that's wrong with it, obviously. Everybody, you know, I'm sure there's leather makers that have been doing it for 20 years that they'll still find stuff wrong with it. And so basically, this video is just to try and get people to, you know, if you want to try it, try it. You know, you have nothing to lose. You know, 13 bucks for some leather. You know, you can use it for other stuff. I have a little stitcher for this stuff, but I figured, you know, for the first one I'd just use rivets or whatever you want to call it, California screws. And it turned out pretty good. Like I said, you know, I just want to show people that, you know, it's not as hard as it looks. It just takes patience. And oh, look, two things I forgot. You probably need dye. I think it just, I don't know what it does other than dyes it. And then, but it doesn't look that good after you're done with it, you know, if you don't dye it. And I got that dye for like $6 off Tandy Leather, but get some good stuff, you know, because I've heard of people getting the cheap stuff and it just rubs off on your clothes and stuff. And then I got this EcoFlow Super Shine leather something or other.